May is National Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and it's important that everyone understand the risks. That's especially true of young people. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic report a sharp increase in skin cancer, melanoma, among people in their teens and 20s. The clinic reasoned that awareness should start early, so it created a public service announcement for kids of all ages. Take a look.
None of my day is done, 'cause the sun has gone. I'm redder than a lobster from the boiled pot. I cannot move, I can't follow a groove.
Have fun in the sun, but be sun smart. Anyone can get skin cancer.
And the narrator is Dr. James Levine, professor of medicine at the clinic and himself a melanoma survivor.
Correct.
Good morning, doctor, and tell us why you're focused on kids so heavily.
Well, I mean, there is this astonishing increase in melanoma amongst young people. 8-fold increase, Dr. Brewer's research shows, in young women, 4-fold amongst young men. It's
Why is that?
Well, there are sort of several thoughts. I mean, first of all, we're just becoming so poor at applying sunscreen. And second of all, there's, as you know, a big increase in the use of tanning beds, particularly amongst teenage girls. And so this is just such a preventable type of cancer. It doesn't take much to do it, and so we simply have to.
One of the things that I found really alarming was that the statistic that a person's risk for melanoma doubles if he or she has had 5 or more sunburns at any age. So it doesn't take much.
Well, and actually that is particularly amongst young people, under the age of 18, in fact. And so it's those sunburns we're getting very early on that appear to be the most risky. I mean, we have to do this in kids. That's why we made this PSA, to reach out to the younger audience.
So obviously we really need to take care of our kids and make sure that we're always getting sunscreen on them when they're out in the sun for a prolonged period of time. What's the best kind of sunscreen for a kid and for an adult?
So our dermatologists recommend both a UVA and UVB protectant. But the thing that most people don't realize is you have to reapply. So you put it on half an hour before you go out. And in my family is, we don't do the pool, we don't do the trek unless the sunscreen's on. Everyone just knows that.
Right.
But then every 2 hours you have to reapply it. And if you've been swimming or hiking or sweating, my goodness, then you have to reapply it. I mean, so the reapplication is critical. And also taking sun breaks. So when we do drinks and have ice cream, it's always done in the shade. And again, it's just part of our habit. So you have to take the breaks as well.
Well, this is something, I mean, anybody who has, you know, teenage kids or younger, and I know you do, your 14-year-old made your fabulous tie.
Isn't it gorgeous?
But
Is that a sunspot?
this is a battle that you have just to get the kids to do it. My wife is really vigilant about this, but they always, you know, they're ready to walk out the door without doing anything. But you've got to do that. Plus, I mean, you talked about tanning beds. Yeah. How much trouble are tanning beds?
Well, again, they're so associated and with the risk of melanoma, and particularly of course the sunburn, that in the teenagers, it's sort of a terrifying and alarming increase in utility, and it's just not necessary. With respect to the battle, I mean, we have that battle too every summer, I assure you. But now it's just the routine, and also the kids know that one day of sunburn, as you know, ruins the holiday, right? And the kids implicitly know that. For us, it's our routine, and we just do not start the day without the sun block on.
And before we go, take us through the warning signs so you know when you need to get a mole checked.
Okay, so it's the A, B, C, D, E. The A is the asymmetry. If one half of the mole looks different to the other half of the mole. The B is if the border is irregular, that's worrisome. C, if it's more than one color, that needs to be checked. D is the diameter. And this is simple, if it's bigger than an eraser head, get it checked. And E is the evolution. So if it's changing or getting higher, deeper, it needs to be checked. And the bottom line is, I assure you from personal experience, it is easier to get it checked early than watch it and say, well, perhaps it'll get better. It needs to be checked.
Great advice and a great reminder. Dr. James Levine, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.